Hello everyone, today we're going to take a closer look at AYANEO's recently launched handheld gaming console, the Pocket S Mini. This S Mini is essentially a shrunken down, more compact version of the previous Pocket S. Similar to the Pocket S, it features a beautiful glass panel and an aluminum alloy mid-frame. It also retains the very same G3x Gen processor. The only notable change is the screen, which has been replaced with a 4.2-inch 1280 by 960 4:3 aspect ratio display. It is precisely because of this 4.2-inch 4:3 screen that the entire device becomes incredibly compact. For a player like me who really loves small high-performance handhelds, this is quite a significant temptation. Let's compare it with other handheld consoles. This is the AP Mini handheld console, and as you can see, when compared to the AP Mini, its width and height are quite similar. Among Android handhelds, it truly stands out as one of the most remarkably compact and smallest devices available. A fantastic accomplishment in its class. It's truly impressive how small and portable it is. They've managed to cram the G3x Gen processor into such a small body. Its performance is comparable to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and its GPU is actually a little bit stronger than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. But the downside is it generates more heat than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. The handheld comes with active cooling, but can it really handle the heat from the Snapdragon G3x Gen in such a small body? We'll test that out in a moment, but first let's just go over the configurations. It runs on the Snapdragon G3x Gen processor. Storage is 8 plus 128 GB, with 12 plus 256 and 16 plus 512 options. It is available in 3 colors, black, white, and retro powder. The Snapdragon G3x Gen performs impressively, scoring 1.88 million on AnTuTu. Compared to handhelds equipped with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, its score is indeed a bit higher. The main difference is in the GPU score. The G3x Gen2's GPU score is over 100,000 points higher than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2's. With such high performance, it is absolutely essential to incorporate an active cooling fan. Even though this fan is quite small, its airflow is actually pretty robust. The handheld is equipped with a 4,500 mAh battery, charging at 9 volts 5 amperes, which is essentially 45 watts of fast charging. The handheld screen is a 4.2-inch display, featuring a resolution of 1280 by 960. This is an LCD panel with a refresh rate of 60 Hz. Let's compare it with the 477M, another device that also features a high-performance 4:3 display. The 477M's 4.7-inch 4:3 aspect ratio screen boasts the exact same resolution, 1280 by 960 pixels, allowing for very similar visual fidelity. Regarding screen colors, the S Mini's display tends to be a bit warmer, whereas the 477 screen leans slightly cooler. A significant difference is that the 477 features a 120 Hz high refresh rate screen, while the S Mini is limited to only 60 Hz. The D-pad and buttons on the front are made of a crystal material, which feels a lot like the PSP's buttons. The texture is excellent. Both the D-pad and buttons use conductive rubber. They're very soft and feel really comfortable to press. Both joysticks are small Hall effect joysticks. There's an RGB light strip beneath them, and we can easily switch it on. You can adjust its color and also its brightness through the settings menu. The top-mounted shoulder buttons also utilize conductive rubber contacts. The 2 triggers are Hall effect linear triggers, but their travel distance is extremely short. Additionally, there are 2 more buttons here that you can custom program for various functions. The handheld's power button has a built-in fingerprint recognition function. The fan exhaust vent features the same fishbone design as seen on the Pocket S. On the left side of the handheld, there's another customizable button, and on the right side, you'll find the TF card slot. On the top, there are the speaker openings and a Type-C port. The overall build quality and texture of the device are truly excellent. Now let's move on to actually testing its game performance. This high-performance 4:3 handheld console is actually most ideally suited for playing PS2 games. This is due to the fact that PS2 games typically have relatively high performance requirements, and a significant number of original PS2 games are designed with a native 4:3 aspect ratio. Currently, we're operating at a 3x resolution, which already surpasses the maximum resolution of the screen, so the visual display quality is certainly going to be excellent. With this processor, it's capable of running smoothly even at 4 times the resolution. But since the screen resolution isn't that high, 3x is perfectly fine. And as for the other settings, I haven't changed anything at all. For high-performance handhelds, the fewer settings we adjust, the more stable the game will inherently become. In the initial scene, the demands are quite high, yet running it at 3 times the resolution proves perfectly sufficient for smooth operation within this particular setting. And right now, I can distinctly perceive the handheld device's vibration. The vibration motor used in this handheld is a more advanced linear motor, not a cheap low-end rotor motor that you often find in other devices. The vibration sensation this handheld console provides is truly comparable to that of a high-end smartphone. Given the capabilities of the G3x Gen, it's certainly capable of running NS games, yet due to the screen's specific aspect ratio and compact dimensions, NS games might appear a bit small. Nevertheless, we're going to attempt playing them. If you look at the frame rate in the top left corner, you'll see I'm currently using game mode. I haven't enabled the maximum full power mode, primarily because the fan tends to get a little noisy when that mode is activated. So in game mode, the frame rate is basically hovering around 27, 28, or even 30 frames per second. It maintains a pretty solid performance level actually, which is great for gameplay. After years of optimization, the G33 Chip 2 processor's NS driver compatibility is now nearly on par with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. This means it can play a multitude of NS games, offering a gaming experience that is truly comparable to what you'd expect from a flagship device. It's quite impressive how far it's come, making it a viable option for many popular games. The Odyssey can also run very smoothly on this device. There's just a tiny bit of a hiccup when the characters are loading, but generally speaking it's a very fluid and enjoyable experience overall, so it's quite good. Next, let's take a look at how it performs with retro games. I've installed the exclusive configuration package for both Tenmaji and Captain Tsubasa, and currently I have it set to display with reflective borders and pixel-perfect scaling. Let's compare it with our own APM. The APM is undoubtedly the superior screen for GBA gaming. The GBA display on this particular screen is simply excellent. As for the Air Mini, I'd estimate its performance probably reaches around 80% of that benchmark. While we're at it, let's take a look at the screen ghosting performance. Because many people online have commented that this screen has very severe ghosting, let's actually experience it for ourselves, especially when the screen moves rapidly. Well, there is a slight ghosting issue present, but honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't appear to be particularly serious or a significant problem at all. Let me try another game. MapleStory is specifically designed to test for ghosting effects, making it the perfect benchmark to evaluate motion blur performance and responsiveness in displays. It's truly ideal for this purpose. Well, I actually feel that the ghosting on this screen is pretty decent, not too bad at all. While it's certainly not as good as an OLED screen, within the realm of LCDs, this display should be considered to perform at a perfectly acceptable and normal level, not exhibiting any severe issues. Regarding the handheld console battery life, the 4500 mAh battery is a bit small. I've been messing with it since 8:30 this morning, and it's now 11 o'clock, and the battery has already dropped by 45%. So extrapolating from that, if you're using it to play some PS2 games, the battery life would likely be somewhere around 3 to 4 hours. Now let's put its thermal performance to the test. We'll run some Nintendo Switch games, really pushing it to high loads, and then play for about half an hour to truly gauge its heat output. Alright, I've been playing with the NS emulator for about half an hour now. Let's take a look at the handheld's temperature. Currently, just by feel, I can tell that the middle frame is slightly warm. It's possible that the hot air from the exhaust vent is transferring heat to the frame. However, this temperature isn't what I would describe as scalding, it's merely a gentle warmth, you know. The button area doesn't feel hot at all, nor does the back of the device. The entire screen has a slight warmth to it, particularly noticeable on the right side. Let's take a measurement now. The right side of the screen shows a temperature of over 38 degrees Celsius, yet quite surprisingly, the parts where your palms actually touch don't exceed 36 degrees at all. Now let's take a look at the temperature along the device's borders and edges to see how hot it gets. It's really not that bad actually, it's only 35 degrees Celsius, so it's quite comfortable. It's also 35 degrees, so the hottest part of this handheld console is definitely the screen, coming in at over 38, almost 39 degrees. Overall, the thermal management seems quite effective. The handheld's temperature, in my opinion, is just lukewarm at its hottest, certainly not what I'd consider truly hot. It's well within a comfortable and acceptable range. Just now, I've been playing NS games for a full half hour, and the battery has dropped by about 25%. Based on that, if you're playing NS games on this handheld, the battery life is probably just a little over 2 hours. Finally, let's talk about the price of this handheld console. Its starting price is 2,599 yuan, which is a bit on the high side, and it definitely doesn't offer much in terms of value for money. Its target audience consists of customers who appreciate a 4x3 screen and desire a compact, high-performance handheld console. The handheld console's craftsmanship, its feel, and its overall aesthetic are truly excellent and quite stunning. And since it's an Android handheld, its playability factor is also an extremely important attribute. If you find the price really hard to swallow, you can check out a used goods platform like Xianyu. Because during the initial pre-order, this handheld console was supposed to come with a free Air Mini. If you factor in the Air Mini at 400 yuan, then its price effectively becomes only 2,199. Right now on Xianyu, you can basically get one for 1,800, so if you're interested, you should go take a look. Alright, that's all for today's video. If you like my handheld videos, remember to follow and give a thumbs up. See you next time, bye bye.